conversations still being had about moving elsewhere in Maricopa?
Well, we aren't having those conversations. There are opportunities available. There are other cities that would covet having Major League Baseball. I mean, it's not like I'm, speaking out of school to say that. And those names they're prominent cities that would love to have a Major League team. We're not in dialogue with those communities, but we are aware of what is going on. There is likely to be in time an expansion of our sport to a couple of additional cities. Cities are letting MLB know their interest. Their interest in getting a team is specific. They would be happy with a brand new franchise, but they would certainly be very happy, with frankly a successful existing franchise. It's not where we are spending time or energy. We may run out of time in Phoenix. We hope that won't happen. We're hard at it. We're continuing to have meetings. We've ramped up the dialogue in every way that we know how, and we'll continue to do that.
We do still have conversations with local interested parties. It's just it's a math problem with anything, right? But we still do take the phone calls and take the meetings, but we have been focused on Chase.
You're not at the point where you're threatening Maricopa County to say we may move somewhere else if we don't get this done.
I don't think that the world that we live in, threats are the right way to do business. We're community people. I've raised my family here. Derrick has raised his family here. I think we're a part of the our franchise is a part of the fabric of Arizona, and that's where we want it to be for forever. When I'm long gone, which isn't going to be very long into the future from now, I would like to have we call it Chase Field Reimagined. That is our hope at the moment, that we will have that and be able to announce that, and that's what we're still aggressively interested in making that happen.
Derrick, do the coyotes searching for land in Phoenix, do they have any impact on you guys?
No, I don't think so. Again, we don't ever want to see a team leave, so we hope they're successful getting an arena as well. I don't think that should change anything. And we keep investing in the stadium, even to this day, where, this off season, we redid our sound system, brand new sound system. We have the new LED sports lights with all the colors, really up to code. As Ken says, make it state of the art. These are things that we've done. And we prioritize those over, say, a complete fix of the roof that we said we would address at some point. Yet, the roof is in a position where we have learned how to deal with it. For now, we know when we can open, when we can close, how we can make that part of the experience. So it's worked. So we reprioritized and decided we need to fix other experiential elements of the ballpark, like the sound system, like the LED, and you'll notice these have been great improvements.
But is there a point, Derrick or Ken, where you guys say we have to just build a new facility? We're just not getting any traction here with this one at Chase?
I think the words "have to build a new facility" is probably not the smartest investment to make, because I think we have seen enough in other places. And we have enough work already done, with building a model that would have Chase Field be state of the art. And we've seen, use the Suns as the example, again, a next door neighbor. And, their stadium, their arena, a little older than ours, but they were able to bring it to a level where I think those of you who would have been there would say, boy, that's really a state of the art place to go and watch a sporting event, where at a point it was not. So I think our focus is what it is. The economics of building a new stadium, the price, as they say in the poker business, the price of poker continues to increase. And when once we were thinking about what we might do, a brand new stadium from scratch was potentially on the drawing boards here in the valley. But the economics for that now have become, because we have to have climate control. That makes the cost of building even greater. And the math, it just doesn't work. I mean, it is a business. And if you are the one writing the check to invest your money, you'd like to think you can build a business model where there is some potential at some point where there could be a return on that investment, and the return would be, increasing revenues, which what do we do when we increase revenues? We invest in a better team on the field, and we have a better team on the field, we create a better result, and that's really what my interests are in all of this.
Would describing the current state negotiations as at an impasse being going too far?
Yeah, we're not at an impasse. We're still,
No. we just don't have a deal,
Yeah.
that we can say, aha, this is what we're going to do, and here's what it's going to look like, and here's how it's going to work. But we're by nature, we wouldn't be doing what we do if we weren't positive people. So it's dealing with the political world is challenging. I can say that.
So I guess another way to ask it is, the city and county, the level of participation that they're willing to discuss with you is simply insufficient for your needs at this time. Would that be a way to put it?
Well, we don't have a deal. Let me just say it that way. We don't have a deal that the county and or the city and or the state, all three of whom could be participants each in their own way. We don't have a deal that works for any of them or for us. And until we do, we're going to continue to talk, and hopefully until we do.
A year ago,
They're very engaged. Yeah.
a year ago, you guys had mentioned you would hope to have something by July last year, 2020.
Yes.
Here we are a year later. How frustrating is this getting for you?
I use the word disappointed. I'm not easily frustrated, and I'm not. But I'm personally, and I'm sure Derrick has spent more time on this than I have. He's maybe more disappointed. Maybe he is frustrated. I hope not, because we need to continue to work on it. But I think it's legitimate to say we're disappointed that we're meeting now at the start of a new season, especially having had such a great year, and the team having performed at the level that it did. We would like to be in a status where we would be working on implementing a plan, and we aren't there yet.
Where are you on the idea of a tax district?
On the idea of a tax?
Yeah, what
Is that the theme park funding?
Well, that legislation is in place, but that doesn't solve the problem. And of course, that's a tax on our customers, and that's not something I think we've always prided ourselves in being an affordable ticket, an affordable evening for a family. Adding an entertainment tax on top of the ticketing is on the back of our customers. We would like to avoid that. Getting into the weeds of how one would finance, frankly, I think some of those communications need to be private between our potential partners and ourselves. And when an agreement is reached, and we hope there will be one, we'll then announce how it will work. But the entertainment tax, yes, it can raise money, but it is, on the backs of our customers.
Clearly, you have a plan of what you'd like to see Chase Field look like.
Of course.
How much money are we talking about in terms of to get?
Well, it's the all-in plan, which would, if you're renovating, you do it over time, because we don't have another place to go and play, obviously.
And we have off-season events.
And so we have to do it over time. But an all-in round number is in the $400 to $500 million, more than the original. The stadium, you all may not remember. We do. Those who write checks tend to remember what they wrote a check for, and I'm one of those. But the all-in numbers were at the outset $238 million of taxpayer money. What turned out to be about 365, whatever the difference is, was the all-in starting number, and then those numbers have increased over time. We, not the county, not the taxpayer, have been investing in the infrastructure from the start date of the stadium to now. And our investment, Diamondback money, is greater than the money that the sales tax created. So, the amount now, based on, again, the cost of doing anything in life, is way greater today than it was in the mid-'90s. And we think the $400 million plus would make that stadium a vibrant stadium that would last another 20 to 25 years. That's our game plan. That's our goal. Getting to that place is not yet been accomplished.
What are the renovation items that would be included in that?
Derrick, you're more the expert.
Yeah, well, we started that work probably about 7 years ago. So there's a lot of things we would like to do. We would, I think people often ask, are you going to limit the capacity or take some seats out? That's not the plan, but really upgrade the amenities, upgrade the clubs that we can. And for all families, we're going to have areas where it's not a cost, to fans. So whether you're talking about areas for children, redoing what we have upstairs for kids to play in, there's a big need. But if you look at some of the newer ballparks, we talked about this a year ago, If you look at anything from the Battery in Atlanta to some of the newer ballparks or their ballpark villages, you want to have activation around the ballpark as well. So we look at what development opportunities there are around the building, but then when you look inside these new facilities, clubs are really important, right? Those are amenities that people want, the all-inclusive, especially our companies in town that want to be able to host and take clients to the game and be able to have dinner already paid for, where the guest doesn't have to worry about that. So there's a lot that we need to do, and we're excited to do it. And we'll get there, we hope. But I think where we're encouraged is in those conversations that we're still having today, you hear the willingness, right, from all the municipalities. They don't want us going anywhere, so that's encouraging. And again, I hope there's light at the end of the tunnel, because we're ready to get started. We want to get started, and it does have to be phased out probably over 3 or 4 off seasons because of the bowl games and the concerts and the fact that you can't shut down before the opening day of the next year.
How much of that, though?
Let me mention one thing. We've focused in answering your questions on the things that would be fan-friendly changes that we would like to make that would generate revenues, because people will, if the experience is a better one, they'll maybe be willing to invest more dollars in coming to a game, or come to a game more often. The part that is lost in the large dollars that we're talking about is the infrastructure improvements. It's like anything. All of us have our own residences, whether we own them or rent them. We know that they just aren't going to sit there static and not require upkeep. And a ballpark, as sophisticated a facility as it is, we're more than 25 years old, and there is 25-year-old plumbing, there is 25-year-old electric. Well, making the improvements that we're talking about, the large dollars, there's 2 categories, 2 buckets: the fan-friendly bucket and the infrastructure bucket. It's a little bit like I've used the example, and I don't want to wear it out, of the classic automobile. Making the car shiny and appealing is one thing, but having it operate is another. And the engine is not really observable, and nor is the electrical part. It's only an issue when it doesn't work. The plumbing is only an issue when it doesn't work. But the 25-year-old plumbing, the 25-year-old electric, et cetera, is not an insignificant part of the total. And so we have to look at both when we're talking about committing to another, let's say, 20 years in that ballpark.
It could easily be half.
Yes.